What if I told you that the court system isn't just about justice? What if I told you that it's about money? They don't care about guilt or innocence. They care about bonds, collateral, and profits. Okay? I want to talk a little bit about some of these cases in regards to YNW Melly, in regards to P Diddy, these high profile cases, or anybody that kind of is dealing with anything in regards to the court system. Okay, whether you got a ticket, so on and so forth. And I may not press up on every single point here. I'm gonna have to dive into specific things, but understand that, some of these cases have nothing to do with justice. Now, whether or not somebody is criminally harmed, I get it. Okay, they deserve some type of punishment, and we're not even going to talk about that. But as far as the courts and as far as the banking system, they don't care anything about that. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this. And if you are dealing with the situation with court or a criminal case or a civil case, some of these strategies you may be able to use to your advantage. Okay, so first things first, man, I want to before we dive into this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I think that this video is going to be a banger, so make sure you guys are tapping in. Okay, watch this video all the way to the end and take notes. Most people watch these videos and or comment or watch my other videos and they don't, and they come and they ask me the same questions. Okay, if you are truly locked in, right, and taking notes, you will essentially understand each and every process. And if you don't, I have a lot of resources and links in my description down below. Okay, so let's dive straight into it. All right, so first things first, let's talk about how the court operates as a bank. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the financial side of the legal system in regards to the birth certificate trust, the SKV trust, and bonds. And if you guys been tapped into anything in regards to consumer law, secured party creditor, you know when you are born, that birth certificate is actually a title, okay? And it essentially is backed by money, all right? Now, where's this money? It's in the SKV trust. The SKV trust is, you can learn about the SKV trust by going online. If we get specific, if I pull up the law SKV Act 1666, okay? This is just me going on Google. You guys can do the deep dive as many different acts of the SKV, but it says the SKV Act of 1666 was a British law that was established as a process for presuming the death of people who went missing at sea. The act was passed during the Great Plague and the Great Fire of London, and how it worked is if someone was missing at sea for 7 years without proof of life, a judge would rule them as dead. Okay, the government will take control of the person's property and put it into a trust. The state will hold the titles to the property until the person returned or their death was proven. If the person returned, they will regain the titles to their property. Okay, so if you break down this law more, okay, and you look more and you dive into research of the straw man, when you are born and your mom signs over that birth certificate, okay, she signed over your rights, or she gave ownership to you to the United States. And this gave them the ability to create a dead entity in your name, such as the straw man. Okay, so then we can talk about bonds. Okay, bonds are, a security instrument. You know what I mean? Bonds are things that, if you know anything about bonds, back in the day, our parents, well, I'll say my parents used to get savings bonds. And even back in the day, further back, they was getting bonds that used to accumulate. And, essentially you can exchange that for money. So I want to talk about how, bonds are created, okay? Especially in regards to the legal system. Okay. Now, we all know that, or we may not know, but the courts are a banking institution and the judge is a bank teller. Okay. And so essentially they create financial instruments off bonds off every case. So this is how it works in simplest terms. Okay. When a criminal or civil case is opened, it generates a case number. Okay, when it generates a case number, this is more than just a way to track proceedings. It becomes a financial instrument used by the court to generate money. Okay, so the person named in the case, the defendant, is treated as collateral under their corporate entity, their straw man, or their all caps name. So understand, when you are in any type of court case, any type of jurisdiction, you are being treated as as a corporate entity. You're not being treated as a real person. And when you understand supreme law or the law of God, you can only be, treated. You are being treated as a natural person. But now, if you have your birth certificate signed over and you have contracted to be a corporate entity in the eyes of the legal system, now they can try you as a corporate entity, and a corporate entity doesn't have rights like a natural person. Okay, so in the creation of bonds, there's things called a bid bond. Okay, a bid bond is created at the start of the case. So it acts as a financial guarantee that the case or the contract has value and will proceed through the system. Another thing, the court bids on the defendant's legal case like an auction. So this is just a game to them. Okay, this is just a way for them to make money and profit off of your name. Okay, then there's a performance bond. This bond ensures the contract is carried out properly. When a defendant appears in court, they are performing under the terms of a legal system. Okay, if a person fails to comply, misses court, or violates bail, the bond can be forfeited and the financial penalties occur. Okay, either the financial penalties or somebody goes to jail. And then there's a payment bond, where this is where the real money making happens. Okay, so the payment bond ensures that the financial obligations of the case are met. It also talks about the court uses the bond to collect money from government grants, private investors, and even Wall Street trading. Okay, and prisons and jails use bonds as leverage to make money off of incarcerated individuals. Okay, incarcerated individuals. All right, so they sell these bonds to investors and government agencies. Okay, this is how they're able to even monetize it further. The court system partners with insurance companies, banks, and federal agencies to trade these bonds. And many of these bonds are backed by inmate trust funds for prisoners and other financial pools. When you go to jail, there's a trust fund that is literally created in your name that accumulates the longer you stay in there. Okay, so the longer it drags on, the more money is generated through court fees, fines, and penalties. Okay, so now the defendant becomes collateral. If the defendant does not pay bail or challenge the court's financial claim, they are treated as collateral. Their person is treated as collateral because they're an asset. So by keeping someone in jail, the system can continue to profit off them through prison labor contracts, commissary fees, state and federal funding for inmate population, and stock market investments in the prison system. Okay, now the prison system is a private company, you guys. Dig me? So when you look at YNW Melly, P Diddy, I talk about YNW Melly because he's been in jail for 5 years without bail, and essentially he hasn't even gone to trial yet. Okay, and the judge just recently was saying, hey, we're going to do the trial in September. And so it made me think, what is the benefit of them keeping him in jail? Okay, because they'll do this, have these rappers, and they'll have these high profile figures in jail, right? Just nowhere. Okay, and obviously they did something wrong, but it's bigger than them trying to acquire justice. Okay, because this stuff be coming out of nowhere. These crimes be happening prior, and it just be random. Okay, so why these high profile people, why they don't challenge the system is because they don't use consumer law. Okay, they are operating under their corporate entity, and essentially their legal team tries to keep them inside the system. See, most people don't know that these attorneys, these judges, these corporations and companies are all tied together. Okay, I hope this stuff could be very mind-blowing and very groundbreaking when you start to really think about how in cahoots these big companies are with the system, okay? Because if they keep the system how it is, then they can continue to profit off of it. All right. Now, high profile cases, they have generate media hype, and this creates even more financial transactions for the court, the more eyes that is on the case. Okay. And then, the prison, just like I stated before, benefits off of prolonged cases, because the longer that they keep people in the prison system, they are able to build up that money in a trust fund that really should be going to the prisoner, but it goes to them. They keep it. Okay. So I want to talk about how to fight back and how to challenge the court using consumer law. Okay. Because it's important to understand some of these things. And what I'm going to talk about, again, is not legal advice. Consult a legal professional, somebody who is not within the system, somebody who is, outside the system and is willing to help you and go against the courts. Okay. So number one, you want to file a Form 56. Okay. A Form 56 is a notice of fiduciary relationship, making the judge and the court responsible for the financial transactions. Okay. A Form 56 is essentially saying, hey, look, man, you now have the fiduciary obligation of this case. Okay. 2, you want to file a UCC1 financing statement claiming your legal person and preventing the court from treating you as a financial asset. Because what happens is when you don't have ownership over yourself, back to this SKV Act, it says that the state will hold the titles of the property until the person is returned or their death was proven. If the person is returned, they will regain titles to their property. So if you file a UCC1 being essentially like a holder in due course statement, you are able to protect yourself, because now the court has to see you in the eyes of a person that owns the estate, not the person who is the estate. Okay, who looks at their name and their birth certificate as an asset. Okay. And essentially what you want to do is you want to, when you fill out your UCC1, okay, you want to make sure you are using your birth certificate as collateral. All right. So number 3, you want to demand proper accounting, forcing the court to reveal the bonds created in your name. And by law, you can do this. Okay. And then there's consumer law protections such as 15 USC 1692 G, which is not G, but the whole 15 USC 1692, the FDCPA, and then 12 USC 95A. And because the court is a debt collector, under 12 USC 95, emergency limitations and restrictions on business of members of the Federal Reserve System, designation of the legal holiday for national banking associations. This section essentially is confirming that the court is a financial transaction. Okay. And it literally became this because of the bank holiday in 1933. Okay. The bank holiday, which is when the United States went bankrupt. And essentially this was a part of the Emergency Banking Act. But long story short, you can use FDCPA to challenge their claim because the court is now a debt collector. It's proving that it's a financial transaction. So when you're in this position, there is debt that needs to be collected. So the judge now becomes, or the court now becomes, a debt collector. Okay. So when you ask for that proper accounting, okay, or you have a right under 12 USC 95A to demand proper accounting because this is a financial transaction, the government considers you a enemy combatant, and now you are under their financial jurisdiction. And essentially, if the courts are able to use 12 USC 95A to justify controlling your financial entity and treating your legal case as a financial transaction, okay, and since your birth certificate and social security number are tied to a trust account that the government manages under the corporate U.S. system, okay, and since the United States went off the gold standard in 1933 and the government has been operating under the emergency banking system, meaning all legal cases are financial transactions, you can essentially use this against them and essentially demand for that proper accounting, okay? because it must comply with the proper accounting procedures, so you could demand full disclosure of the financial instruments being used against you by filing demand for that proper accounting. And this is how you would do it under 15 U.S.C. 1692G, okay? And the GAAP, the generally accepted accounting principles, courts must provide full accounting of financial records upon request, okay? So the things that they should require, or the things that should be on the request, is a certified accounting of the case number, proof of bid bond, performance bond, and payment bonds, copies of the financial instruments, the CUSIP numbers, the securities or the bond transactions created from your case, and a sworn affidavit from the clerk of court confirming the financial records, okay? And who you should send it to is the judge, the clerk of the court, and the prosecutor, who is acting as a debt collector for the court's financial claims. The clerk of the court is the one who manages the financial transactions, and the judge is acting as the trustee of the case financials trust. Okay? There's a lot to be talked about in this, and obviously, I can't use all the time in this video to talk about this. We will probably spread this out into another video. The UCC1 will essentially put a lien on your name, okay? And then we dive into the Form 56, which forces the judge, the prosecutor, and the clerk of court to accept the fiduciary responsibility. And if they are unable to provide this stuff, okay, then they must either cease collection, or if they are, then you can dive into debt discharge, and you can discharge these things using the debt discharge methods: 1099A, 1099C, request for discharge under UCC 3-501, which is presentment and dishonor, meaning if they did not provide this information and the information that you asked of, then they must discharge it. So in conclusion, the court is a bank, okay? And your case is just a financial contract they use is to generate revenue for themselves and generate revenue for the United States. The system only works if people remained uninformed, okay? This is why I'm here to inform you guys, okay? This is why I'm here to educate you guys. This is not this is not advice. This is not legal advice. This is not financial advice. Again, do your own due diligence. Check out these laws yourself. And once you understand how bonds work, once you understand how to use consumer law to challenge the court's financial claims over you, then you'll be able to get out of situations that YNW Melly is in, situations like P Diddy, okay? And they won't be able to draw out your contracts, or they won't be able to draw out these financial transactions, because you know your protections under the law, okay? So it's super important for you to take the concepts of debt discharge serious, because it can actually take you further than you know, okay? So down below, I have the complete debt guide, okay, where I teach you about 1099. I have resources on the Form 56. I have resources on the UCC1, okay? I have resources on how to be able to challenge the court system and how to be able to speak in a court system in the resources section of the complete debt guide. So if you have it, it's in the last module. But if you don't have it, it's only $47 down below. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. I have a busy day today, so I wanted to get this video out. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for watching this video all the way to the end. Those of you guys that are serious, those of you guys who are going through, a situation within the court system, just learn consumer law, learn how to protect yourself as a consumer, and you will be able to get out from under the system, okay? Again, check out the complete debt guide. It's only $47. This right here could put you in a better position to be able to challenge debt collectors. And if you're able to challenge the court, don't you think you're going to be able to challenge Capital One? Don't you think you're going to be able to challenge anybody else? Okay? So, once again, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.